In this video, I'll be helping you guys understand how you can learn to itemize properly in your games. First of all, you must learn about the default item build for that particular hero. For example, on Swain, this is Dread's Mask of Madness, Echo Saber, Blink, BKB Daedalus, and it is what most players will buy. If you're not sure about the default build for the hero you're looking to itemize on, go to Dota 2 Pro Tracker and search for the hero you're interested in. You just have to scroll down to get an idea of what the pros are buying. Once you figure out the basic build, after which you move on to modifying this build to adjust according to different situations. After you have completed the first step of figuring out the default items on that hero, you should ask yourselves a few questions in order to modify your build to other scenarios where your default build might not work. Question number 1. What are the strengths of my hero? You need to think about the hero you're playing and the things it excels at. What makes your hero really strong? In Swen's case, he excels at flash farming using God Strength and Cleave, joining fights around 15 to 20 minutes with 3 to 4 items. Swen likes to jump on heroes to burst them down in team fight and punish the split pushers. All of this when the ultimate is up. After the ultimate is on cooldown, Swen likes to farm again. His cleave allows him to get a good lead in terms of net worth and join fights before enemy carry. His ultimate allows him to outdamage any hero in physical battle. Your goal in terms of itemization is to make sure your items allow your hero to do the things your hero is good at. Question number 2. What are the weaknesses of my hero? What stops my hero from doing what my hero excels at? Now you have to think about some general things that stops your hero from doing what it likes to do. For Swen, spells or items that don't allow him to do physical damage to heroes in a team fight are a few things you can consider. Stuff like kiting, disabling Swen, and not allowing him to right click at all is also included in this, where you just kite Swen during his ultimate and fight when God's strength is on cooldown. Some examples of the hero's item or spells that don't allow him to do physical damage are Prognostic Ripify, Winter Wyvern's Cold Embrace, Oracle's Fade Edict, Ghost Scepter, Heaven's Hellbird, Evasion, and kiting him with Glimmer Cape. Now, we move on to the most important question, that is, how do I overcome all these issues? In order to overcome the weaknesses that we have discussed before that stops our hero from doing what it likes to do, we need to itemize in a way that progresses our game towards perfection. Keeping everything we have discussed before in our mind, most of the spells that stop Sven from attacking in a team fight can be countered by buying a BKB, which is why BKB is almost a must buy on Sven. In order to counter Ethereal Form or Glimmer Cape, keeping in mind what our hero likes to do, which is physical damage and jumping upon heroes to burst them down, what is an item that provides damage and also provides a dispel? It could be a nullifier or a scepter, as they both dispel the ethereal form or glimmer cape and allow Sven to right click easily. In case of scepter, it also allows Sven to close distance between heroes and get on top of them. Sven is hard countered by evasion because it doesn't allow Sven to use the god strength time properly and doesn't allow him to do physical damage in fights, which is the only tool he has. What is an item that will allow Sven to be able to scale in a game where the enemy buys evasion? When you think about it, MKB comes to mind as it provides you both attack speed and damage, exactly what Sven needs, as well as it gives you 80% chance to ignore evasion. The only counter to Heaven's Hellbird is to buy a BKB. Now, even if you use BKB after the Hellbird is used on you, it will remove the disarm effect and allow your hero to attack. When it comes to item progression, there will always be some items that you have to buy on default on your hero. Usually you will be modifying only your luxury items. While itemization, you need to know what your hero likes to do and what enemy heroes dislikes. Swen likes to close distance with enemy heroes, and for that Swen needs a mobility item, which could be a blink dagger, silver edge, or harpoon, depending upon the game, which we will discuss in this video. Now, if we apply the above questions to this Swen game, we know the strong points of Swen, that Swen needs to farm, and whenever there's a kill potential, Swen will use God Strength, get a kill, and go back to farming more items. Looking at enemy heroes, they're all physical damage based. Venge reduces armor, Slardar also reduces armor and does physical damage. PA in most cases builds a Desolator and hence reduces armor and does all the physical damage. Elder Titan with his third spell, Natural Order, reduces 100% base armor, and Tusk with Tag Team allows his team to deal more physical damage. Looking at enemy heroes, what Swen needs right now is an armor item, otherwise their heroes will just melt the Swen with physical damage, and there's a PA, which has evasion, so Swen will also be needing an item that can attack through evasion. Now, looking at ally heroes, there's a Pangolier who's gonna start a fight, and Sven needs to go in with Pangolier's initiation with the mobility item, as the other three heroes, Sky, Grim, and Invoker, like to play from backline and use their spells. You need to also itemize considering the potential of the heroes in your team. The default items that Sven will be making are Mask of Madness, as it allows Sven to farm jungle efficiently, as it provides attack speed, life steal, and damage, and Echo Saber, which enables Swain to deal enough damage to be able to get early kills. Echo Saber is also an important buy because later on it can be converted into Harpoon or it can be disassembled into BKB and Bloodthorn. Blink Dagger is a mobility item that is going to allow Swain to be able to get pickoffs on map and apply pressure as well as accelerate his farm. Swain needs a mobility item to close his distance and get on the enemy, and Blink in most cases works perfectly for Swain, as Swain needs to jump the backlines and clear supports when starting a team fight, so he's not kited during the team fight. Instead of a blink dagger, Sven could also get a silver edge to apply break, but then Sven would have to walk in fights to find his target, and that would be bad in this game as Venge would have swapped the hero that Sven has jumped upon, and Sven would be heavily kited. Getting a blink with Grimm's Inkswell also provides Sven a strong initiation in fights, so that's why he decided to get a blink so the purpose of Grimm doesn't die in the game. To cover up the armor issues, Swan has built an assault while skipping BKB because even if Swan has BKB in this game, the enemy team will still be able to melt Swan with negative armor and physical damage. Swan has made assault instead of BKB. This is what modifying your item build means when you figure out which items are required as per the situation of the game. When Swap goes through BKB, Tusker's Punch also goes through BKB. Eldritch Titan Natural Order also goes through BKB, which is the armor reduction. Slider's Ultimate goes through BKB, and PA can also cast spells on spell immune hero. If we just make default build in this game, we'll end up wasting 4000 gold on BKB. But if we only ask ourselves the questions on the strengths and weaknesses of our heroes as well as the enemy heroes, we'll be able to itemize better. Assault also provides aura, which is gonna help Swan's team to be able to survive in fights too. To avoid getting kited, Swan is jumping on Venge first. This is also an important point while itemization. You also need to know which heroes you need to jump in order to start a fight. The only way Swan can get guided in a game is when swap, so he solves that problem by getting on Venge first. Lastly, to cover the evasion problem, Sven gets an MKB to counter PA's evasion, and Echo Saber is converted into Harpoon to close distance to enemy heroes and avoid getting kited. Sven also has a shard which makes Warcry undispellable and passively gives armor to teammates, which is again very strong against the Dire's physical damage and armor reduction based lineup. After these items, Mask of Madness can be replaced with Satanic, and Blink can be upgraded into Swift Blink. Let's dive into another Swan game and see how the itemization varies from game to game, keeping in mind that Swan's weakness is getting kited and not being able to attack in team fights. The enemy team has Strength that provides a strong root which is gonna stop Swan from attacking in team fights. Skyrath, which is gonna do a lot of magic damage as well as silence. Drow, who's gonna try to keep her distance from Swan and slow him with frost arrows. Tide's Ravage and Earthshaker stuns are also a big problem. Looking at enemy heroes, we can break it down that even if Sven has an early blink in this game, in a team fight when Sven blinks in, the enemy team will be able to kite Sven easily as they have a lot of spells to deal with Sven's mobility. So Sven needs to do something to be able to avoid most of the spells. The first thing that comes to mind when it's about spells is BKB. Getting an early BKB in this game will be the go-to for Sven, as it will allow him to overcome the getting kited issues and he'll be able to play on map without any threat. Echo Saber can be disassembled into BKB, which helps Sven get his BKB even earlier and apply pressure on the map. Sven, with his three items, Mask of Madness, Echo Saber, and BKB, is running all around the map looking for a fight in just 19 minutes of the game, which is very early for a carry hero to actually have this much impact. One of the strong points of Swen's strength is that he gets active on map earlier than any other carry hero, as the item progression on Swen allows him to do so, and his damage from God strength lets him clear the team fight very quickly, and Quest has abused it to beat Team Secret in TI qualifiers. Drow Ranger is very strong if she can fight from a good position, and Drow falls off when the heroes can jump on her. Getting a blink in this game provides Swen mobility and allows him to threaten Drow in team fights as Swen can jump on her and with a BKB and movement speed from Warcry, Sven can run down draw. If you're able to itemize your hero properly based on the strengths and weaknesses of your heroes as well as the enemy heroes in the game, the games become a lot more easier to play. Later in this game, Sven gets a Silver Edge to deal with Tide's Kraken Shell and a Harpoon which is upgraded by Echo Saber to finish the game. In most cases, offlaner's general role is to provide stability to the team. Let's break down the itemization of offlane Dawnbreaker for this game. So the strength of Dawnbreaker is that she has abilities to farm jungle and creeps. She has global presence with her ultimate, which means she can farm on the other side of the map and join team fight using her ultimate. Dawn's weakness is anything that can cancel her ultimate and not let her join the team fight, like Nyx's spiked carapace or global silence, which isn't the case in this game. Looking at enemy heroes, they have a lot of magic damage in shape of Phoenix, Somewhat Pangolier, Earth Spirit, and Enigma. And in order to make the game hard for them and easier for team, Dire needs something for magic damage. So Dawn ends up making a pipe to cover up that aspect and enables his team to take strong team fights as Dire has good damage from Leshrac and Void, and all they need is survivability in fights, which Dawn is providing through pipe and making the team fight really difficult for Radiant side as they won't be able to burst a hero and start the fight in favorable condition. With Dawnbreaker's ultimate's healing and Pipe's magic damage barrier, she will be helping her team survive the initiation from Radiant, and hence turning that into a favorable team fight. The main idea to itemize in this game on Dawnbreaker is to provide teammates with aura and survivability, and therefore Dawn has queued up Scepter, which is gonna provide more healing and disrupt the Radiant side from what their heroes excel at. I have explained the itemization for support in my previous video, which will appear on the top right in the late game itemization section. You can apply these methods on any hero in the respective roles and learn to itemize efficiently. Sven and Dawnbreaker were selected for the video since they are among the best offlane and carry heroes in the current patch. I hope this was helpful for you. Do let me know if you have any feedback, otherwise have a nice day and good luck with your games.